this is Ruby Ringside. You're watching Colt TV.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, and happy Memorial Day, and welcome back to another special live edition of Pro Wrestling 60, a holiday edition, because we don't rest on the holidays. Oh, no, because there's just too much professional wrestling going on. I'm XLJ, the OG, joined by my partner in crime, my brother from another mother. I think this week he is hailing from Bucksnort, Tennessee, one Mr. B.
How are we doing out there, world? And man, oh man, what a Memorial Day weekend it was. It was jam-packed, full of pro wrestling.
But hey, it's just kicking off here on Colt TV because this is kicking off our Memorial Day week extravaganza. I had to get one in.
I thought it was spectacular.
It's spectacular. It's extravaganza. It's everything. It's everything and all that in a bag of chips, as the kids said in the 90s. No, this is kicking off our Memorial Day week specials. Kicks off tonight, of course, with PW60. Tune in here tomorrow for our Wrestling Legends reunion vlog, which I got to tell you, if that's an amazing vlog, you're going to want to check that out. And then we're also check out our HCW Ascension to the Queendom vlog, as well as our Emerge Wrestling vlog, all coming to you this week on Colt TV. But nonetheless, I had to get the plug in there, right before we get too deep dive into this show, because it's not like we got a whole lot to talk about, right?
Oh, we have a crap ton to talk about. So let's go ahead and let's utter those famous lines. The clock starts now. Let's get right into it.
All right, our top story this week, it was a Memorial Day weekend doubleheader. And us pro wrestling fans, we are so spoiled. Like, this happened, I think, last year for the first time. And we got it again. And I hope this just continues to be a tradition because I'm all for it. But not one, but two major pay-per-views. That's right, pay-per-views took place this past weekend. We had the King and Queen of the Ring as well as AEW's Double or Nothing. So let's talk about Saturday, though, as the King and Queen of the Ring took place. And we've been talking about, that's been like our top stories these past couple of weeks here on PW60. So, of course, we have the finals of the men's and women's King and Queen of the Ring. Of course, first up, let's talk about that men's final. A dream matchup, a matchup I never knew I wanted to see, but man, I'm glad we got it. We got Randy Orton going up against Gunther. First and foremost, what'd you make of this matchup, this final? Did it live up to the hype in your head and then some, or was it just kind of like it was good?
I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, I didn't know I needed this matchup, but I don't know. It's definitely something I would want to see again.
Oh yeah, I think they set it up too easily. They could do a rematch because with the controversial finish in this matchup.
Yes.
Solid back and forth. Like anytime Gunther's in there, it's going to be good. And I thought, like, I honestly, I was gung ho. It was going to be Gunther all along, and then Thursday night when they made that announcement that the winners would be getting title shots at SummerSlam, I thought, well, let me stress this. They said title shots at SummerSlam off their respective brands. So I'm thinking, okay, it's got to be Randy and Cody because that makes sense. But no, Gunther ended up defeating Randy Orton, like we say, in controversial fashion. Those shoulders weren't quite down on the mat there, but nonetheless, Gunther is your King of the Ring. Not really like a shocker there in the build-up. I think we all thought going into it like this was Gunther's to have, and lo and behold, he is King of the Ring. Maybe is this the biggest win of his career yet, you think?
I mean, it's up there, I guess.
Against a certified first ballot Hall of Famer in Randy Orton. So
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I guess the most important thing, the match left me wanting more. So
Mhm.
that would be a job well done. So
yeah, yeah. I think the King of the Ring tournament did a great job of establishing, not that he needed it, but establishing Gunther as the true dominant force he is. And speaking of establishing dominant forces, let's talk about that woman's or that Queen of the Ring final as we got Laya Valkyria, the upset kid, if you will, going up against the unstoppable force of Nia Jax. The finish of this match was scary. I was like, oh my God, she killed her. But Nia looked pretty much dominant this whole tournament. I mean, you think about the people that she beat to get here. You beat, even though you beat her by DQ, still you handed Jake Gargill her first loss. You cleanly beat Bianca Belair, and then you stopped Laya Valkyrie. So it's very interesting that Nia Jax is your Queen of the Ring. And she will go on to SummerSlam to challenge for the WWE Women's Championship. Whether or not Bayley will be the champion by then or not, who knows? Do you find that, though? Let me ask you this. Right now, do you find Bayley versus Nia a compelling matchup? And be honest.
no.
Okay. I agree with that. But here's the thing, B-roll. Here's what I think we can do, because I think we've already kind of put the seeds so far to just setting up as Nia Jax as this unstoppable badass. Just have her run roughshod over the SmackDown women's rosters the next couple of months. Build it up to we get to SummerSlam where it's like Bayley has to just go against this unstoppable like monster. I think give them time and it could be something of interest. I think also too a lot of us are really thinking we're going to get Bianca against Bayley at SummerSlam, and we still could. It still could happen, but I think it made sense to have, whether you love her or hate her, for Nia to win Queen of the Ring. It made sense. Would have been cool if Lyra had won. You could have got that feel good story of Lyra against Becky at SummerSlam. But you know what? We're going to talk about that in a minute too. But were you satisfied with the Queen of the Ring?
Yeah, I mean, I do think, yeah, we debated at the end of Learning the Ropes who was going to win the women's, and we didn't really know. And at that point, we didn't know who was going to come out of the SmackDown side, but I don't know. I just had a feeling that it was going to be Nia for some reason. Yeah, the kicker is they have plenty of time to set something up between Bayley and her, or whatever.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah, they've got. You're absolutely right. We've got plenty of time to get to SummerSlam. And let's talk about your main event of King and Queen of the Ring, as Logan Paul would challenge Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, and Logan would break his promise. Shocker. Against Cody, and would use the brass knucks. But at the end of the day, Cody Rhodes would come out, prevail, the victor. Did you like this matchup? Were you okay with it, or are you just kind of like, eh?
Yeah.
I agree. And we talked about this last week on PW60, how we had no expectations for it. We thought, well, I think they'll exceed him because we don't have any. But honestly, and there's some people who love this matchup. I mean, there's that cool shot they did where he did the frog splash, but I don't know. I think at this point, we're now kind of exposing Logan Paul because it's like, okay, it's kind of like the same type of matchups every match he's in. He does some cool spots, some cool shit, but I mean, I don't know. I felt like this could have been this on paper should have been a much better matchup. And once again, not that it was a bad matchup. It just felt, as somebody who I think we're going to be talking about here in a little bit, it felt a little mid. I don't know. Like it was what it was. Now Cody moves on to his next challenger, and Logan Paul, I would assume, is going to do something at SummerSlam. So, I mean, he's got to, right? It's his hometown. So,
yeah, he's going to face. Well, we don't need to get into our bet here and now.
Yeah,
we don't need to.
Let's talk about this one, B-roll. A little bit surprise here. Becky Lynch was defeated by Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship as that Liv Morgan Revenge Tour finished up in Saudi Arabia. But I think the thing of importance is how she lost it. As you can see there, when Dirty Dom was on the apron and pretty much cost her this matchup. What do you think of this? A little interesting, kind of a little bit of a swerve there. And is this going where we think it's going?
I mean, so first off, let me state that the internet can be a scary place and also a beautiful place all at the same time. Because somebody made a meme or whatever you kids call it nowadays, but it was like they said the battle of the two Britneys, and like it was Britney Spears. Like like their outfits were both similar to.
The Becky outfit was kudos to you, man. That was pretty badass. The whole suit thing.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, Dirty Dom, you dirty dog, you.
Is Dirty Dom double dipping? I think that's where we're going. I think part of this Liv Morgan Revenge Tour is she's taking mommy's man. How dare you, Dirty Dom, if that's the case?
Which, I mean, it's still unclear at this point.
Is it though?
I mean, I don't know.
Come on. Well, time will tell and we'll find out. And hey, was announced earlier tonight on Raw, the rematch between Becky and Liv will take place, and it's inside a steel cage. So Dirty Dom's not going to be able to get involved in that. At least I wouldn't think. But be interesting to see what happens tonight on Monday Night Raw. And rounding out the King and Queen of the Ring pay-per-view, we have this triple threat matchup for the Intercontinental Championship between Chad Gable and Bronson Reed challenging champion Sami Zayn. I honestly, in my opinion, outside of the finals of the King of the Ring, I thought this was probably the best match on the card. I thought this was a solid triple threat match. How'd you feel?
I mean, it's nice to see how what's the word I'm looking for? The pop Sammy got, I guess.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Always comforting.
Which the stuff they're doing with Gable now and the Alpha Academy is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then I mean Bronson Reed was there. He didn't look bad.
Yeah.
He didn't look good, particularly good, but yeah.
Yeah. Still a solid matchup. Sami Zayn's still your Intercontinental Champion. I was having a discussion on a live I've had on Saturday, and I'll get your thoughts on this. Do you feel like, because this is how I felt, like I thought King and Queen of the Ring was an all right show, but I felt it was probably out of all the pay-per-views, I'm not going to say premium live events, damn it, but out of all the WWE's big shows they put out this year, I felt like this was kind of the weakest. Wasn't a bad show, but I just felt like it wasn't up to par as the other ones. What would you agree, disagree?
I'm thinking.
Well, that's okay.
I mean, I'd probably agree with that assessment.
Yeah. I mean, it just not a bad show. Just it wasn't one of the better shows of the year for WWE. But that's okay. It's okay. Well, that being said, I don't know about you, but man, oh man, I could use some friendly advice. And I could use that advice from your friendly neighborhood Dad Hats. Let's go to Dad Hat with Dad Hat's Tip of the Week.
It's that time of the week again. Dad Hat's Life Lessons of the Week. Brought to you by World Championship Wreckage. Find them on YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. And also by the Wrestle Talk Wolfpack. 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. every Wednesday, twitch.tv/Wrestle Talk Wolfpack. And now, here's Dad Hat.
All right, kids, it's Memorial Day weekend, so I think I've got 2 bits of advice for you. First, always be aware of your surroundings. That's right. Always be looking where you're supposed to be looking. Know what's to your side, your left or right, what's behind you, all those things.
Right to the back knee and down. He's got Orton's shoulders down.
And number 2, simple science. What goes up must come down.
Quite get her up to Sammy. Can't quite do it. It's count to 20. You made your country of Ireland be denied. Past few years. What a difference a year. Found her.
Oh, Dad, he is wise beyond his years. Thank you so much, buddy. And hey, special shout out to my boys, because I am now a part of the World Championship Wreckage crew, if you haven't heard. So we got a brand new episode over on World Championship Wreckage's YouTube channel, where we're talking King and Queen of the Ring. So do yourself a favor and go and check that out. All right, now that, of course, as we know, was King and Queen of the Ring wasn't the only show from this weekend. Oh no, let's talk about, we'll get B-roll back here in a minute. Let's talk about AEW's Double or Nothing, coming to you from where it all began, the MGM Grand Arena, which I hold near and dear to my heart. Thinking back as an old head of watching so many great WCW shows there, Halloween Havocs there. Great to see wrestling back there, but and of course, this is where it all began for AEW 5 years ago. So it was a solid, yeah, I would say so. Oh. Anyways, we had a triple, not one, not two, but 3 matches, a triple main event at AEW's Double or Nothing. So let's get right into it. And first and foremost, we got to talk about this. You're trying to produce behind the scenes, and now he's back. So. Little inside baseball there. So, hey, let's talk about your triple main event. First off, Anarchy in the Arena. Was this the craziest Anarchy in the Arena they've done yet, you think? Because this was bananas, I mean,
Darby did have a flamethrower, so...
Yeah, Darby had a flamethrower, and it's just like, is Jack Perry's new thing now? He just don't give a fuck, because it's just like, I want to break glass. I want to fucking set myself on fire. Like, I don't know what he's going for, man, but like, damn. So there was some crazy ass spots in this matchup.
I mean, you know what I wonder though? If Eddie Kingston was able to be in this matchup, I feel like it could have been even crazier.
Oh my God! You think Eddie's pissed because Darby got to set somebody on fire? Because he's always, it seems like he's always wanted to set somebody on fire. He gets the gasoline. Yeah. Nonetheless, like I say, this match was crazy. It was what a way to close out the show. The one thing I really do like about this was the finish, the fact that Jack Perry pinned Bryan Danielson and beat him clean. Kinda, sort of. I mean, if we're not counting like all the weapons and shenanigans and stuff, but still, though. I mean, at the end of the day, I considering the rules of this matchup, I'd say beat him clean. But Jack Perry getting the pin, it was huge. I think huge for development of his character, and it's going to be very interesting to see where he goes from here. And like Darby Allin, you can't kill him, man. I don't know what's going to stop that young man. Like he looks so natural here. Like this photo of Jack Perry it's just insane to me, but also like deep down inside the wrestling fan, like is like that's cool as hell. But did you enjoy Anarchy in the Arena?
What was it Justin Roberts said? He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, like welcome to the shit show" or something.
Yeah,
It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Loved it. Loved every minute of it. And like I say, I think it's great that it closed out the show because it's obviously the Elite is the top storyline going on in AEW right now. Also, let's talk about the long-awaited debut of one Mercedes Moné as she challenged Willow Nightingale for the TBS Championship. Say what you will about the finish. I mean, it was predictable, but it's like our buddy Hambone says: if it's good, if it's good if it makes sense, or it's predictable if it makes sense. I fucked that all up. It has to be your head up the bull's ass. I don't know. Anyways, point being, like it may have been predictable, but like it seems like it makes sense in the long haul. I will say this. I thought they made Willow Nightingale look like $1 million. I think with the build up to this and what the position they put her in, like Willow is like that homegrown star who you can like really push as like a main event talent. She deserved this matchup. It was a hell of a matchup. I enjoy this rivalry now we've got between Willow and Monet. It was a great matchup. Willow looked phenomenal, by the way. Absolutely stunning. That gear is incredible. I don't know. What'd you think of the TBS Championship?
I mean, it was so a lot of what I thought was going to happen happened,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't happen how I thought it would happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mercedes looked great too. It's been a year pretty much she's been off and she looked phenomenal. She reminded everybody of why she is the CEO. But yes, let's talk about it. The end of this, I'm so heartbroken. My girl Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway turning on Willow Nightingale, betraying her friendship. Where do we go from here, man? Obviously, we're going to get this hell of a rivalry between Willow and Chris Statlander, but why, Chris? Why? Why'd you do it?
I have a feeling it all revolves around that TBS title.
I guess so. Well, nonetheless, Mercedes Monet is your new TBS champion. And of course, she has to be our wrestler of the week this week on Pro Wrestling 60. Although there was a couple contenders, which we'll talk about that later. Speaking of contenders, Christian Cage challenged Swerve Strickland for his AEW World Championship. It was a terrific matchup, a solid matchup. I enjoyed this title match. I enjoyed the whole triple threat main event, man. I thought it was awesome. But Swerve Strickland's still your AEW champion. Do you think this is the end of this, or do you think we're going to get some more matches out of this with Swerve and Christian?
I don't know.
I could see it being like put on pause.
Yeah,
Like,
because I also Swerve's going to get involved with the Elite somehow as well.
Yeah,
because they keep kind of like
they
hinting
tease
at
it. Yeah,
they keep kind of hinting at that.
yeah.
Like,
Well, we know pretty much up next we have for AEW's Forbidden Doors, the next big show. So obviously, I would assume Swerve would be facing somebody from New Japan.
well, we'll find out on Wednesday because they announced that there will be a gauntlet match for who gets a shot at the AEW World Title at Forbidden Door.
Oh yeah, I was thinking it was the IWGP. It is for the AEW title, isn't it?
It's for the AEW.
Okay, so yeah, well, we'll find out pretty soon, and I hope we get some surprises and get some New Japan talent in this gauntlet or whatever we've got. So be interesting to see. But tremendous triple main event. But I think the big story we're all talking about out of Double or Nothing is the surprise. The scumbag is back. MJF returned to AEW, and he's apparently revealed that he is signed and he is all elite, which I don't think is a huge shocker there. First and foremost, kudos to the Triple H jacket from like 2002. That was fucking beautiful. Were you surprised to see them like already just bring MJF like back like this? Do you think it was like, obviously, hopefully he's healed up and ready to go. Because I wasn't expected to see him for another couple months, honestly.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I think they needed him back though. Is the thing.
Yeah, 1,000%. He is going to be a huge shot in the arm for AEW. That's the shot that they desperately needed. The one thing I will say, if I nitpick about anything, I felt like he just kind of came in and just like kicked at him cold in the nuts and brainbustered him, and like, okay, now we're moving on to the next thing. I mean, I still feel like you got to put a bow tie on that story.
I mean, you definitely do. It's just like I don't know. I even thought the whole Adam Cole coming out was a little weird because like it's like if he would have came out
The
like
spot where they put this on the show was interesting because it was like it was literally it opened with Osprey and Strong, and then this was the second segment. And it was like, really?
it's
Okay.
like, well, if he brought, I feel like he should have brought Cole out like as he was just coming out there to like check on Roderick Strong or something.
Yeah, that's kind of weird too. Like, why isn't he checking on his Undisputed Kingdom stablemate? But whatever.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
But
there's some people
MJF is
critical
back,
of
and
it.
that's cool.
That's the most. Yeah, there's some people critical of it. I don't necessarily agree to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, MJF's back, and that's the most important thing. So, and like I say, he's going to be the shot in the arm that AEW really needs to, because now we're in a world where we got MJF, Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay, all like competing on the. So hey, it's going to be pretty intense to see what happens in the coming weeks on AEW television. And big moment here for Will Ospreay as he won the AEW International Championship by defeating Roderick Strong, thus earning his first AEW Singles Championship. Tremendous opener. Were you surprised that they went that this is the first title that Ospreay won in AEW?
Yes, most
Yeah.
definitely.
I agreed. Like, I didn't really think this would be the first one he'd have, but not surprised with the outcome when they announced this match. I think I was kind of just like, well, like, that's an interesting choice that they went with for Double or Nothing. But nonetheless, Ospreay continues his streak and continues. The crowds absolutely adore Will Ospreay. So I think he'll do that international title well, and be interesting to see what happens going forward with the international title. And speaking of championships, let's talk about this barbed wire cage matchup between Adam Copeland and Malachi Black. Just a freaking like battle back and forth. Some dangerous spots in this, especially that elbow drop, man. Like I hope he's okay, because I cringed. I was like, Jesus, dude, you're like 50 and I love you, bro, but my God, like, I hope he's okay. Haven't heard anything as far as we know. Copeland's okay, but the cool thing of this, though, Gangrel coming out to help him win this matchup. It's like, put that in the WWE's pipe and smoke it. Like, oh yeah, people won't remember Gangrel. Well, guess what? He got a pretty loud ovation there at the MGM Grand, if I do say so myself. So, but nonetheless, you have Copeland, who retains the TNT Championship. Now, a lot of people are kind of being critical of this on the House of Black looking weak coming out of this rivalry. Would you agree with that? Would you disagree? Or are you kind of like, eh? Well, mainly because Copeland pretty much defeated all three of them.
I disagree. I mean, I feel
I
like
do
they had to bring something out of Copeland to.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, they like made him go to like a dark side, if you will, that like he hasn't like revisited in a while, you know. So I think for the purpose of the story, it made sense. Do you think this is the end of it though, or do you think we're going to continue to get House of Black feuding with Adam Copeland?
That is a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see
say
it,
this
but
though. I am, in my opinion, this was actually my favorite match from the show.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I was one of my more favorite ones. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite, but it was a good one. It was a solid match. But I don't think like them Malachi Black losing to Adam Copeland does anything bad for House of Black, but it'll be interesting to see where House of Black goes from here, and hopefully, like we say, Adam Copeland is okay. It'd be cool if we got an Adam Copeland and Gangrel tag match, and maybe someday, if the wrestling gods smile upon us, we get the Brood reunited in a 6-man tag or something. I'd love that, but we'll have to see. Also, Timeless Toni Storm successfully once again defending her AEW Women's Championship against the challenge of Serena Deeb. But I gotta say this, I think Serena Deeb, out of all the matches she's had, I felt like this was one, like during it, where there's moments where I was like, oh shit, I think Serena Deeb may win this. Like as far as a
Yeah.
challenger, looking like they could legitimately were going to beat Tony Storm. Great matchup. Absolutely, their styles work so great together. What were your thoughts on Timeless Tony Storm and Serena Deeb?
Yeah, I'm going to go on the record here. Going on the record. Put it in the books. I will say that I think this is probably the best AEW women's match without like a gimmick. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like a straight up wrestling match.
Like a straight up wrestling match.
I gotta think, but
This is probably the
it's-
best one I've seen.
it's up there. It's definitely up there. I'd have to think hard about it, but yeah, you're right. It's definitely up there. It's a tremendous matchup. I'd love to see them in a rematch, honestly. So
Yeah.
But man, just a stupid awesome match. And of course, Tony Storm's still your women's world champion. So just wonder when the hell she's going to fight Wendy Richter, though. I mean, that's got to be coming on the horizon at some point. Anyway,
Maybe Forbidden Door. Who knows?
who knows? Also, speaking of returns in wrestling, we got the return of Juice Robinson. Dude, were you watching this? It blew my mind. Because, like, literally, I know there was, like, a cardboard cutout. I swear I saw him at ringside, and then it just came to life. Like, I mean, some of the effects AEW was doing at Double or Nothing, like in the Anarchy in the Arena, and this is just, like, chef's kiss. I think David Copperfield was helping them produce the show last night. But nonetheless, Juice Robinson's back. And of course, Bullet Club Gold does retain their unified trios championship against the Death Triangle. What'd you think of this matchup? And Juice Robinson coming back.
Solid matchup. Cool to see Juice back. My main complaint is they can stop carrying 3 belts now.
I do like how they have the cart thing though with all the belts on. It's kind of cute. So yeah, it makes me think about like moms going to take their kids to the zoo or something. I don't know. Also, we had Jon Moxley against Takeshita in the Eliminator matchup. But you remember my thoughts on that from last week. Solid matchup though. Like Takeshita, really, there was moments where I thought, holy shit, he's going to beat him. But Moxley ultimately prevailing with the win. Once again, just shows you how strong a good Takeshita is. It was a solid matchup, I thought, on this show. What'd you think of Takeshita and Mox?
I mean, I despite the fact of it being an eliminator match or whatever, I loved it. I loved the injury going into it. Little confused how they were able to use Mox's bandages so much to choke each other.
Yeah.
Without getting a disqualification, but it's AEW. But
Reasons.
I mean, I honestly I loved the matchup. I legit thought there was a couple times that Moxley was probably going to have his shoulder pop back in place or something.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Like there was moments where it's like, damn. But I mean, of course, wouldn't expect anything other from Jon Moxley. But a tremendous matchup. Don't get me started on the whole like eliminator bullshit. Anyways, also we got to see the Learning Tree. Chris Jericho retain his For the World Championship as he defeated Shibata and Hook in a triple threat match. Okay, here's the thing. Like, here's my one thing I'm going to say about like Double or Nothing is it was a loaded show, but the old man in me was just like, okay, we could have cut some of this shit. They could have easily put some of these matches on the buy-in, and this is a perfect example of one that they could have easily put on the buy-in. I didn't think it needed to be on the pay-per-view. Wasn't a bad match, but it's just like, I don't know. I thought it was filler. What'd you think?
I would agree with that assessment, and I would say, and I know we're not to the buy-in yet, but there was a match on the buy-in that probably deserved to be on the main card.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. And matter of fact,
And now here we are.
And now here we are. But I think we even like because I forgot about it too myself. We even skipped the match because it shouldn't have been on. Like Orange Cassidy against Trent. Like, okay, that happened. Orange Cassidy wins. Not a bad match, but that could have easily been on like a Dynamite or like a
Yeah.
not on a pay-per-view. So much shows
That-
that we actually forgot to put the slide in. So
That's probably been their biggest miss recently, honestly.
yeah,
They keep
it's
putting it
weird.
in this spot to succeed,
and
it's just not.
Yeah, it's so bizarre, man, because I feel like I should be way more invested in it, but I'm not,
I'm glad Trent finally changed his entrance music.
Yeah, but it may not matter now because he's leaving. But I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, let's talk about the buy-in. And I know the matchup you're talking about, and we were messaging each other back and forth. Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa easily should have been on the pay-per-view. I think tremendous matchup. Deonna picking up a win, so now we've kind of split this series. What are we going to get in the third match? You think it's going to be like a regular match, or are we going to get like something special?
I think we'll probably like revisit like a lights out match or something.
I think you're right. Yeah, it'll be fun. And then the Acclaim picked up a wins against the Cage of Agony. Is that what we're fucking calling them? Okay, whatever. Yeah, that happened. But nonetheless, double or nothing for the most part. A solid show. Triple main event was wonderful. And it was a great weekend, a tremendous weekend of professional wrestling action. Well, my friend, it's that time of the show. Let's go to our good friend Sienna Chanel with some advice for us pro wrestling fans.
One thing us wrestling fans that are really guilty of is complaining. And when it comes to complaining, it's like complaining about, whenever watching a wrestling show from WWE, AEW, New Japan, TNA Wrestling, and so on. And if there's something that kind of like ache you, like the way that they book the matches, wrestler storyline to how it runs and everything like that, though, it's totally fine, though. Even though like you're trying your best to support the company, trying to love the product, but then again, it's like there's a lot of like questionable doubt that like something that you actually enjoy is not gonna go how it is going, and that's totally fine too. But you could definitely like express it out, but don't make it into like an excessive habit, because like nowadays within the wrestling community, complaining is like one of the most like guilty conscious ever. Like everyone, including myself too. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I complain like certain aspect of it, all right? But that doesn't mean that like I'm gonna like, stop supporting the product or anything like that, unless if it's something that is like kind of like beyond to the point where like, okay, I'm giving up. It's okay, just take a break of it, give it a breather, and just wait until you're ready, because wrestling is not going anywhere. All right, just wanted to give y'all a tips or something like that.
Truer words could not be said. And I mean, how can we complain, especially after the weekend we just have two tremendous shows? I mean, come on, man. Just enjoy wrestling.
I mean, and if you think about it, like PW60, we got Dad Hat, we got Sienna. I mean, like, it's worth it just to tune in, just for their advice.
Oh yeah, we got so many more good advice and so many good tips coming to you too on this episode. But let's get back into it here. And this was announced at the buy-in. The Owen Hart, the third annual Owen Hart tournament, will be taking place this summer. But huge ramifications here. The winners of the men and women's Owen Hart the tournament will receive world championship title matches at All In, the biggest show of the year. So that is just up the ante and then some. I have no idea what the brackets are. We know the finals will take place in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm just going to go ahead and call it now without even seeing the brackets. I think we're going to get Will Ospreay win in the men's. I'm assuming he's in it, of course. And I'm going to say in the women's, I think it'll be Mariah May. And we'll get Mariah May and Toni Storm at All In. I'm calling it now. And then I think you get Ospreay and Swerve at All In as well. So I don't know, but it makes it very interesting. It's going to be a very compelling tournament as always, but especially with a title shot on the line. Can't wait to see what's going to happen this upcoming summer with the Owen Hart tournament. And also, this came out this week too. Big news in the world of WWE. Congratulations, Minneapolis. Your consolation prize is you're going to get a SummerSlam in 2 years because you didn't get WrestleMania.
But it's going to be
2 nights. That's right. So they announced that SummerSlam in 2026 will take place in Minneapolis, and it will be a 2-night event. The first time ever SummerSlam being a 2-night event. A lot of speculation on this because people are talking B-roll. A lot of people are thinking this is setting up for that year that potentially the biggest show, the Granddaddy Mall, is going overseas. A lot of people are thinking WrestleMania is going to be overseas because they're doing this.
I
don't know if it's
about that.
I don't know if it's necessarily that. I will say this. I think if they do it, I think it'll be in London is where they do it. It would make sense.
It ain't gonna be in freaking Saudi Arabia.
I don't know, brother. Money talks and bullshit walks. So just saying, enough money, they can get it there.
Someone
let's talk it out of here.
Someone clip that in the archives for when I said that, and when it happens, you can.
You son of a bitch!
I'll eat crow. I'll eat the crow.
But SummerSlam's going to be a 2-night event. That's going to be exciting to see. Makes you wonder too if they're going to start doing more 2-night events outside of WrestleMania from that. So I don't know. Time will tell. But hey, as we said before, WWE is firing on all cylinders. Also begs the question too: where the hell is SummerSlam in 2025 going to happen? So
who knows?
I don't know. Who knows?
Probably Nashville.
Yeah, you never know. It was announced at the end of King and Queen of the Ring that Clash at the Castle, which is coming up here, 3 weeks, believe it or not, coming to you from Scotland. He's been cleared. Drew McIntyre will challenge Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. And is this Drew's moment? It's his hometown. It's his home country, I should say. Does Drew take the belt off Damian Priest here?
I don't know. Is CM Punk going to be on commentary?
See, I think that's what's going to happen. I think Punk is going to get involved, and I think Priest retains his title. Is what's going to happen. Because I feel like this, and maybe this is a hot take. Say what you will. And I love like Damian Priest, but I feel like his title run so far has felt very underwhelming. Only really like the one defense against Jey Uso. Yeah, and you say let him cook, but I don't know, bro. They've had months, and it just feels like I love Priest, but he feels like a filler champion to me at this point. Like it just seems like okay, they're gonna put it on Drew, or they're gonna put it on like whoever. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, WrestleMania was just so good. It just doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
I know, right? This
really.
I'm glad you said that.
Ago.
Yeah, because this is like the first time I can remember and watching a WrestleMania where like the literally WrestleMania hangover has lasted still. Like I still think of it like it was yesterday, my friend. So, but nonetheless, coming up at Clash at the Castle, we are getting Drew McIntyre challenging for that world title against Damian Priest. Now we got to talk about this. These Wyatt 6 or whatever it is, these QR codes, man, they're getting freakier and freakier, dude, and bigger. So this week is seen like perhaps Uncle Howdy was writing some letters to some members of the Wyatt 6. One thing that has kind of been revealed is like a date. It seems as if there's great potential that this, whatever this is going to be unveiled to us the day after, or the Monday Night Raw after Clash at the Castle. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. It just gets more and more compelling. Who knows what the QR code's going to be tonight, but I can't wait to see it. But it'll, like I say, this has been very fascinating what they've done so far, and I'm sure Wyndham Rotunda is looking down fondly on this. Well, hey, even though it already happened, we kind of got to talk about a little bit here about what happened this week on your regular show. So let's talk about Raw first. Of course, we got the build-up of the finals for the King and Queen of the Ring with those respective matches. Lia Valkyrie getting that huge upset against Io Sky. The one thing I want to talk about on this show, though, a couple things. Number one, looks like Sonya Deville's back. So
yeah,
that should be interesting. But number two, and mainly, Braun Baker, man, just going rampant. I mean, you know what, though? Cale Dixon, with that kind of name, you probably deserve to have your ass handed to him, but still, you know, there was no stopping Braun, man. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with Braun Breaker here on Monday Night Raw, because he's already seeming like out of control. Adam Pearce is gonna have his hands full. Let's also talk about SmackDown, which did come to you from Saudi Arabia. Of course, we got those King and Queen of the Ring finals and that Cody Logan confrontation, but also got a tremendous matchup between Bayley and Chelsea Green. It looks like maybe Piper Niven may be challenging Bayley next for the women's WWE Women's Championship. And the Grayson Waller effect got out of hand as we ended up getting a 6-man tag between the Street Profits and LA Knight going up against A-Town Down and Carmelo Hayes. Speaking of which, I mean, we're talking about A-Town Down. So, I mean, that can only mean one thing on this show. Let's go to our Tribal Queen Brie with her Tribal Queen Tidbit of the Week.
Well, hello everybody, this is your Tribal Queen Brie with your Tribal Queen Tidbit of the Week. Just getting ready to watch Double or Nothing, but I want to talk about my guys, the greatest tag team champs in the world. It's on Down Under, and Friday night, I have a gripe. Paul, why'd you have to do my guys dirty like that? You put them in a match with Carmelo, that's fine. I like the three of them together, but you had them lose against LA Knight and the Street Profits. Why'd you gotta do the champs dirty like that? Like, are you gonna make them losing champs so that way they lose the belts? Are they just gonna be like short-term champs? Come on. No, you don't do that to the greatest tag team in the world. Okay, that's it. That's my Tribal Queen Tidbit of the Week.
Yeah, she doesn't like it when her men lose. So, Papa H, watch out for Brie. You're gonna have her wrath coming down on you, buddy. Well, let's talk about Wednesday Night Dynamite, the go-home show for Double or Nothing. A lot of stuff being done going on here, kind of setting up for Double or Nothing. A tremendous matchup with Malachi Black and Kyle O'Reilly, which I'm like, yeah, we need some more of that. But yeah, pretty much, I mean, all the stuff that happened on Dynamite was really like a build for Double or Nothing. Was kind of cool seeing Darby come out that first time with the flamethrower. And God, I'm just gonna say this once. I get why they did it, but what a wasted main event and Bryan Danielson TV match against Satnam Singh. Yikes. But it's okay. It happened, you know, obviously for Double
reasons.
There's reasons. Well, Rampage was a solid show on Friday night. Love the women's tag team match, of course, and then the last time we're gonna see Willow and Chris together.
Well, I mean, we'll see them together. They're just probably gonna.
It's not the same. Damn it! It's not the same. Chris, I love you, but you broke my heart. But Rampage, solid show, and of course Collision. The big surprise on this one, the ace himself, Hiroshi Tanahashi, showing up as the partner for Claudio Castagnoli and Ricky Starks. Daniel Garcia. Jeez, I'll get it out there for a second. Yeah,
who's Ricky Starks?
Who's Ricky Starks exactly? But nonetheless, all of AEW shows building up to Collision were pretty solid, I would say. Let's talk about Tuesday night and NXT as we're getting closer and closer to the next big NXT event, which once
Battleground.
Thank you. I always forget the fucking name every week. It's like I knew it was like a one-off WWE pay-per-view from back in the day, but thank you. Battleground. We did get to see Fallon Henley defeat my girl Thea Hale to qualify for the North American Women's Ladder match. Not sure how I feel about that. Damn it. Also got to see the tag champs in action against the family, and we also got to see number one contendership for that North American Championship, and looking like it's going to be your boy going up against your NXT North American Champion Ode. I always butcher his name. Big menacing man.
Obafemi.
Obafemi. Yeah, he's a monster of a man. Solid show, man. Like I say, and you've talked about before. I mean, I think right now the NXT has the best women's division in all of wrestling. So, and it's great to see them in action and do their thing. It was a solid outing there on Tuesday night for NXT. And let's talk about Impact from this week, which this was very special to us because we were there for these tapings. It was a tremendous show. We got to see what a weird partnership between Ryan Nemeth and Matt Hardy. But they did pick up their win in their matchup against the System. Got to see Marty Bell challenge Jordan Grace for the Knockouts Championship, but more importantly, Allison Kay, aka 47, showing up, and now looks like we got a little bit of a Hex reunion going on in TNA, which I'm for. And then how about the beautiful and stunning Ash by Elegance, the doll that they brought out? We were mere feet away from that, and it just took my breath away. How amazing and how incredible that just to be amongst your presence. But all joking aside, this match, you and I talked about at the time, we're like, I don't know when they're airing this, but it's going to be our match of the week no matter what. They had some tough competition from this week, but holy shit. Trent Seven versus Speedball Mike Bailey. It's our match of the week here in PW60. Do yourself a favor. Go over on Impact's or TNA's YouTube channel. Subscribe. Do whatever you got to do to watch this matchup because this matchup is freaking nuts. Like being there in person. You and I even said too, we were like, I think this is the best match we've seen in person together all year.
Yes.
I mean, it was insane, and TNA killing it. And of course, now Trent Seven is the #1 contender for Ali's X Division Championship, and that matchup will be coming soon. Well, my friend, it's that time of the show. We need to spice things up again, so let's go to Spicy Guac with a spicy taste.
Spicy Guac letting you know that advertising in professional wrestling isn't really a bad thing. If anything, it does help. Prime being in the ring for, the pay-per-views and things like that in WWE is all right. DraftKings with AEW, that's not bad. Even WCW had some advertisements back in the day. And, it's not hurting anything. If anything, it's, making it cool to like professional wrestling again. It's cool to watch. I mean, there's no John Cena, but there's no Roman Reigns. You kind of got Randy Orton. You got Cody Rhodes. If you were smart for the last 5 years. It's still cool to watch. I'm just saying. It's a weird time. At least we get Bad Bunny every once in a while.
Thank you, Spicy, for that spicy take. And hey, we got an update on the Best of Super Juniors tournament, which is coming down to the wire here. Up in your A block, we have a new leader in El Desperado, as he is. Actually, I shouldn't say a leader. We got a 4-way tie, really, as it's between him, Titan, Blake Christian, and Hayata. And then over in the B block, we got Taiji Ishimori and Hiromu Takahashi tied at 10 points. And then following them at 8's Kushida, Robbie Eagles, and Driller Maloney with Doki and Sho. So it's like anybody's ball game really over there. But brought up the Super Juniors tonight for a specific reason, because this is huge news, folks. This past week at GCW in Chicago, the GM announced shocking news as Matt Cardona announced that the GCW title is now Fanquet. That's right. He is stripping it off of Cousin Blake. He is no longer your GCW champion. And we did find out this upcoming weekend in the Atlantic City shows that there will be a gauntlet match to determine the new GCW champion. Can you believe it? Now, supposedly they said because Cousin Blake, was over part of this Best of Super Juniors. But you know what, B-roll? I don't know if I entirely buy that. And you know who else doesn't buy it? Our good close friend, the Best Scout Machine. So let's go to him with his thoughts on this travesty that is Cousin Blake getting the title stripped from him.
P-Dub City, it has been announced that GCW has stripped their world champion Cousin Blake, our Cousin Blake, of the GCW World Heavyweight Championship, supposedly because he's in Japan for the Best of Super Juniors. Well, I'll tell you what, that's a crock of shit. They stripped him because he's out with his family. Poor Cousin Blake has been wronged. Like, not only was he spending time in Japan, he was also taking time out to come home to a family reunion. Look at it. It is a multiracial group of people. This man is a man of the people. Just look at him. Look at that face. You want to kiss him. And look, it's the entire P-Dub City family, along with Cousin Blake. We're all related here, you know. CDC, Jano's Wrestling, Spicy Guac, B-Roll, XLJ, me in a wig. It's all family with Cousin Blake. And remember that family reunion he was at? He was also playing Pin the Tail and the Donkey. Cousin Blake is all about wholesome fun. Cousin Blake was also in need of a new DVD player, so we went to Circuit City. And sure, we had a lot to eat, but then me and Cousin Blake and all the others went to Red Lobster. Cheddar biscuits. And then Cousin Blake surprised everyone with free tickets to Shania Twain! He was really enthusiastic. So yeah, shame on you, GC Dub, for stripping the title off of everyone's favorite stepdad, Cousin Blake, our cousin. He looks great even though we're related. Wanna smell you. No? Can't do that? Okay. Hi, XOJ. Hi, B-Roll.
Oh, best scout, we love you, buddy. But yes,
All I gotta say is justice for Cousin Blake.
justice for Cousin Blake. Well, hey, let's talk about GCW shows this week. You had Take a Picture in Chicago and Paranoid in Columbus, Ohio. Tremendous matchup with Speedball Mike Bailey and Danhausen. Danhausen picking up the win there. I'm telling you, B-Roll, this is like a new Danhausen. This is like I feel like this is a pissed off Danhausen because we don't know the status with AEW, but obviously I feel like he's done with them. So I don't know. It's just interesting to see. Also, tremendous matchup with our good friend Allie Catch going up against Megan Bain. Awesome matchup. And of course, the damn dirty Mance Warner. He took that screwdriver to our boy Cole Radrick. But you know what? That's all right. Because Cage of Survival coming up next weekend. Effie's getting his revenge against your ass, Mance Warner. He's going to fuck you up. I'm calling it. Calling it right now. But Take a Picture was an awesome show. Paranoid was an awesome show too. But dude, these GCW shows this weekend from Atlantic City, you got the Tournament of Survival, Cage of Survival. This is going to be huge. Like, this is must-see TV. You're not going to want to miss it because you've got that insane tournament. What could potentially be the end of this incredible rivalry between Effie and Mance Warner. And, of course, we're going to have a new GCW World Champion. So what more can you ask for coming out of these shows coming up this weekend in GCW? So, and this is interesting, too. Marigold held their first show this past Monday at Korakuen Hall. But the big news coming out of it is Julia was injured, and it looks like she may be out of action for a little while. And this may delay her debut going into NXT, as she does have like a broken hand now that she's dealing with. Which you hate to hear that, man, because I'm all in on Julia. I'm ready to see that debut. It's going to be awesome. But you know what? If we got to wait a couple months and let her heal up, that's okay, because it's still going to be awesome nonetheless when it happens. Is that?
Who's that?
Is that? Yes, B-roll. This is a release picture of that's The Rock, folks. Yes, this is The Rock playing the legendary fighter Mark Kerr on the set of his newest movie, which is a movie about his life, Mark Kerr's life. But dude, look at this. Look at the makeup job and stuff. This is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like okay, like I can see The Rock's body.
Yeah.
And we get to the head, and then it's like,
what is going on here? What is this shenanigans? This craziness? Nonetheless, I'm excited to see that too, because I mean, I remember Mark Kerr's story and like being a fan of his and Mark the Hammer Coleman in the early days of UFC. So it'll be interesting to see. And how about this? Looks like Sting's son, because yes, that is Sting's son. That's not Sting. But man, he looks like a spitting image of his old man. Has started training to become a pro wrestler. Got a little bit of the bug. It looks like they're at Revolution. It's going to be awful hard because he's going to have some big shoes to fill. But I mean, I think that's exciting though for Sting. Like, I don't know what he's going to develop into or whatever, but That, like I say, he's got some mighty big shoes to fill in, though. Don't you think, Mr. B-Roll?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yes. Well, it's that time of the show. Let's go to our good friend Brian for Brian's random moment of the week here on PW60.
Oh, hi, everybody. Hi, PW60 family. Time for Brian's random moment of the week. And yes, that is a fake snake. If you follow me on TikTok, you know that is Harry, the fake snake. He keeps the birds away. He might have been featured here on Colt TV a few times, but if you're not familiar with it, there you go. He's not going to jump down and bite me. It's all good. All right, so as we are looking at more of the great wrestling, and of course you're enjoying the content of all the awesome creators here on PW60, now it's time for me and the random moment of the week. No hat at the moment. That's okay. You see my shiny head or whatever and whatnot. So, I'm going to start a new series. This is going to take a while every week. I did this on TikTok a while back, where I primarily do the wrestling questions on there, but I'm going to go and do it here for Colt TV. Start a new segment, our What If series, looking at the history of wrestling, as we do quite often with my portion on PW60. So, I'm going to start off this one kind of on a serious note, and of course this past week marked 25 years since the late great Owen Hart tragically died at the Over the Edge pay-per-view in 1999 with a failed stunt and everything like that. We know the history, we know the story, we know what happened. So one of the biggest what ifs in pro wrestling would be this, and quite simply, what if Owen Hart did not pass away in 1999? What if the common sense would have prevailed or something and they would not have pulled off the stunt and he was still alive today? What if he would have got to finish out his career? Do you think he would have finished that out entirely with WWF/E? Would he have went to WCW at some point? Would he have been a world champion at some point in WWF? What do you think would have happened if he would have been able to live out up until this day and had a full rest of the career, retirement? What feuds do you think he would have had? Comment all that below. Think about it. Let us know. And enjoy the rest of your PW60 and also great Memorial Day, and have a great week ahead. And don't forget to follow all the creators on all the socials all across the way.
I absolutely love that question. It's interesting too. He brings it up because we actually talked about that on our King of the Ring retrospective over on World Championship Wreckage, and it was interesting because even Dad Hat, myself, a huge Bret Hart guys, came to the agreement. Honestly, we think if Owen would have stayed alive, I think the trajectory he could have ended up being the better Hart, which is saying something. But nonetheless, thank you, Brian. We love you. And you know who else we love, Mr. B-Roll? We love our wrestling content creators. And this week, our Ruby Ringside Wrestling Content Creator of the Week is WWF Retro, who they are always putting out some amazing short clips on like TikTok and other socials. I always love seeing, man, because there's some stuff that brings back memories. Some of it's like I forgot about or didn't even realize happened too. So if you're not doing so, check out WWF Retro. They're our Ruby Ringside Wrestling Content Creator of the Week. And hey, speaking of Ruby Ringside, we here at PW60 want to wish you, Ruby Ringside, a happy birthday. I know you're had an amazing weekend this past weekend with your family. So just know us here at Colt TV, we love you, young lady, and we wish you a very happy birthday. I hope it was as amazing and as spectacular as you are. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ruby.
Happy birthday, Ruby. Trust us, you don't want to hear us sing. We'll butcher it. Also this week, it was announced that WWE will be returning to Japan for the first time in several years, as they'll have a couple dates there in July, which will be exciting to see. It's always exciting when WWE goes back to Japan. So,
but wait, are they going to?
Yeah, nonetheless, they'll be back in Japan, which is cool to see. So, how about this, B-roll? AEW's All Out, traditionally held on Labor Day weekend. They just announced that they have moved the date officially. So now it will be Saturday, September the 7th. Still going to be at the Now Arena in Chicago. But the idea behind this is to give a couple more weeks to build to it from coming out of All In. But here's the thing, they're just getting one more week. Is one more week like really going to matter?
Who knows? I think what they're trying to do is they're like, hey, B-roll, XLJ, like we're gonna give you a week of rest, another extra week of rest, so you guys
Are
can
sure
come,
you
come
need to
again.
come. Like that would be, let's see, what would that be? Would that be your third one?
Yeah,
It'd be your third one, my fourth straight one. So I don't know. Well, we will see. Verdict's not quite out yet, but Chicago is our home away from home. So, and then finally tonight we got to talk about this. Is apparently it appears that Bryan Danielson is needing surgery, which makes me wonder. Just like, I mean, we knew this was going to be his last run. Like, could we have potentially seen Bryan Danielson wrestle for the last time last night in Anarchy in the Arena?
No,
I don't think so. But it's still scary though, man, because it's such a crazy style that he wrestles, you know, and the health issues and stuff before. I don't know. It's a little bit of a concern, but hopefully Bryan Danielson's going to be healthy and can end it on his own terms. But I don't know. Scary thought, nonetheless. This is our Memorial Day week extravaganza, as we have got plenty more content coming to you all this week, including 2 wrestling vlogs. And tune in tomorrow for our vlog from when we're at the Legends Wrestling Reunion in Evansville, Indiana. Everybody have an awesome and amazing week and a happy Memorial Day from us here at Cole TV. See you next time. Bye.